Hello everyone, hope you're having a beautiful day. My name is DJ Andy Felicitas of Felicitas Entertainment, and this is going to be the first of many vlogs geared toward individuals getting married or planning events, or DJs who also work in the wedding industry. If you're here, you might already know, you might not know, I'm a wedding DJ primarily, although I do some private events and I have some regular work on a dinner cruise line. My primary focus when it comes to DJing is wedding events. So I've accrued some knowledge over the years and I'm hoping to share that with folks who might be interested. So let's get into it. So this first vlog, as the title indicates, is the top 3 things I think newly engaged couples should do first. These are the first 3 things that you do once you've engaged, of course, after you've announced it to the world, hey, we're engaged, all that great stuff, all the happy feelings that come with that, but now it's time to start getting organized. So the first thing I think you should do is create a wedding-specific email address, and there are several reasons for this. The first one being that it can be something you and your fiance share. So as you get contracts in, as you get invoices in to the same email address, instead of having to forward it on your fiance and having a whole back and forth between your fiance, the vendor, so on and so forth, it's one email address that both of you can access and can sort of stay organized in that way. The second thing when it comes to email addresses is, as you've all seen or heard or know, as you Google search for things or as you talk about things, especially with smartphones, all of a sudden you're going to start to see ads from different wedding related things. And rather than muck up or sort of throw your personal email into disarray or your work email into disarray, all of that can be focused specifically in your wedding email. It's just a way to kind of stay organized with that. The next thing is specifically if you're going to go to a wedding convention or a wedding expo, they always ask for your email address. That's part of registering. What you may not know is when you do go to those expos, those vendors who have paid to have a spot in those expos also end up getting an email list of everyone that attended. Now, for the most part, they have it organized so like they don't have, I as a vendor can't see your direct email address. There's sort of a system that I would use where I email specific people, and then should I sort of move on down the line in terms of booking or communicating more, then perhaps we'd exchange actual email addresses. But the point is, you go to a wedding expo, every vendor who's there has a list that they've bought and paid for to directly access people who are looking for weddings. So you're going to get inundated by DJs, florists, venues, coordinators, caterers. All those folks are going to be sending emails your way. And again, rather than throw your personal email into disarray, it's all organized into that wedding email. And again, your fiance can access that same information. Tip number 2 is to narrow down your venue and date choices. What I mean by that is, don't get sort of pigeonholed into I have to have this specific venue on this specific date, because more than likely it's already taken. Especially in these COVID times, all those weddings that were canceled out in the last year or so are now pushed, and everyone who was engaged a year and a half ago that would have been married already is now looking for that reception, just like your newly engaged couples are looking for reception spaces. So figure out when it comes to your venue, whether you're looking for a beach venue or you want a barn wedding or you want a wedding in a tent on the grounds of some kind of mansion or a wedding inside a mansion. You want to narrow down exactly what you're looking for your venue. I'll have another video later on about all the different details and things to think about when considering a venue, but right now, just keep in mind the second thing you should start to do is narrow down your venue choices and then pick a date. But keep in mind that maybe having 3 or 4 dates that will work for you will help you be able to narrow down your venue so that you have a selection of I want sometime in October or sometime in January, and that way you can sort of zero in on something that will work best in terms of your venue and your date. Another big reason for setting your date and especially booking your venue is a lot of other vendors, your DJs, your photographers, your caterers if they're not already included in the venue, photo booths, florists, all that kind of stuff. While you might be dead set on using those particular vendors, until you have your date set, there is no guarantee that you're going to be able to book them for that specific date. So that is the absolute second thing you should start to do, is consider your venue and your date. The third tip I have for couples who are now starting to plan a wedding is to set a budget. What I mean by that, it sounds like it's pretty cut and dry, but what I mean by that is figure out how much of your budget is going to what aspect of your wedding. So your DJ, your venue, caterer, so on and so forth. If your budget is set at $10,000 or whatever, how much of that is going to go to a venue? How much do you want to invest in your DJ? So on and so forth. Obviously, as a DJ, I would hope you'd want to invest a good chunk of that into the entertainment budget. But obviously, everyone has different choices and what's the word I'm looking for? Priorities. There it is. Everyone has different priorities. Sometimes you're more dead set on wanting that beautiful, perfect venue, and maybe you don't want to spend as much on a DJ, or you don't want to spend as much on the catering. Maybe people have one meal choice versus 2 or 3, so on and so forth. Regardless, so that your price of your wedding doesn't end up running away with you, keep in mind what you want to allocate in your budget and how much budget you're looking for. So, to recap, number 1, make a wedding email address. Number 2, figure out your date and ideas for venues that you want to have. And then number 3 is set a budget. We'll go into more things as these vlogs continue. But if you have questions already after watching this first video, if you have, hey, Andy, I really want you to cover this, or I'd really like you to cover that, please let me know. I'm doing my best to keep this conversational and easy and free-flowing while still being somewhat professional as best as I can. So again, if you have something you want me to talk about, leave a comment on YouTube or ask me on my Facebook page or even on my Instagram, which I'll put links to somewhere around this. I don't know. I'm going to figure this out. I'm figuring this out as I go, people. So yeah, that was top 3 things that I think you should do first. I do have some notes here that I've been making. So I have lots of things I want to talk about. Videos upcoming, I'll talk about food and questions you should ask your DJ if you're, when you're booking a DJ. Talk about music choices, talk about wedding traditions. I'll have some tips for people who have to give speeches at wedding ceremonies, because there's tons and tons of information on how to properly use a microphone. Stuff for the fellas. Yeah, lots of different things. So stay tuned. There'll be more of these coming. I don't know how often. I just really wanted to get this first one off the ground. So if you have questions or if any of that sounds interesting to you, make sure you follow me, subscribe, whatever you got to do. And we will see you in the next one. See ya. And I hope you... And I'm coming at you. Set the get. Goodness gracious. Enjoy.